Switching to crypto, what is the one of the biggest arguments against Bitcoin and other crypto that needs to be mined for is the fact that it uses an unbelievable amount of energy. And so several weeks back, China banned people, technically banned, although it's still going on, banned people from mining for Bitcoin because it was literally taking too much of their energy and it was hurting their industry. So I believe in the past couple of weeks, the United States has now become the number one Bitcoin mining country. And a couple of nights ago, Joe Biden, or the House and Senate, have passed the infrastructure plan, which will increase the ability to distribute electricity around the United States. Yay! But if all we're doing in increasing our ability to distribute electricity is to get people so it's easier to mine crypto, have we done a good thing for the world?
Yeah. So I think that, so first of all, about China, right? I think there's many reasons why China banned Bitcoin. One of them is probably energy, but I think there's a lot of other reasons as well why they banned it.
Right.
So there's that. And then about the energy consumption of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, I think people get that one fundamentally wrong. So it's true that Bitcoin at the moment is consuming a lot of energy, but you have to see, first, number one is other alternatives like the fiat system or gold. They're not exactly climate friendly either, right? It takes a lot of energy also to get gold out of the ground. But that's not really the point. The real point is that Bitcoin introduces a new paradigm, right? With Bitcoin, where you mine Bitcoin doesn't really matter. You can mine it everywhere. It doesn't need to be mined where it is being consumed. Like, for example, with gold, right? It's somewhere in the world and you have to get it out wherever it is, right? And that's where you consume that energy. Now with Bitcoin, you can mine Bitcoin somewhere in Siberia, they're mining Bitcoins now, or somewhere in the middle of the desert where you live, right? You can mine Bitcoin. So you can use renewable energy sources that you can't really use for other things to mine Bitcoin. So you could make a Bitcoin mining farm in the middle of the desert, right? And use solar energy to mine that Bitcoin. So a lot of the, and that's already happening, right? A lot of the energy that is being used to mine Bitcoin is actually renewables energies. And I think you could probably bring it up to 100% of Bitcoin being mined just with renewable energy by putting the mining somewhere where you can produce renewable energy that you couldn't also use for other things. So I think overall, if it's being done correctly, then the Bitcoin mining industry could contribute in a way that we could create a financial system that is fueled with renewable energies and that is more climate friendly than the fiat system that we're using at the moment, leave alone things like gold and stuff. With the way how the mining works, you could make it, I'm not saying that's how it is at the moment, right? I mean, no doubt that at the moment Bitcoin is not exactly climate friendly, but I'm saying you could do it in that way. And I don't think it's a clever idea to dismiss a new technology like Bitcoin just on the grounds of saying, well, it's not climate friendly, because I think we could, if that would be the only issue, then we could make it climate friendly, right? And at the end, probably that would be even better than the system that we're currently having. So I agree with that there is definitely an issue in Bitcoin's consuming too much energy at the moment and it is not climate friendly. But I'm also saying that's not really, for me, that's not really enough to dismiss the technology, because we could do it in another way.
Right. So the next question for you is on platforms. If people want to acquire Bitcoin, acquire any of the coins, what are the platforms you recommend and why?
You mean exchanges?
Yeah, the exchanges. What exchange platform? What is the? Yeah,
there's lots of different exchanges. It depends on different factors. I can't really recommend one exchange now that suits everyone. It depends on where you're based, where you're from, what's more important for you, cheaper fees or better IT security, etc. We actually started a startup recently. Look at www.cryptostudio.com, where we compare different exchanges. according to different criteria. So you can get an overview of what are the leading exchanges and how are they different and stuff. An exchange that I personally like is Kraken. I like it because they are regulated in the United States, not somewhere in an offshore jurisdiction where you don't really know what's going on. I like Kraken, and they also have never really had a bigger security breach, which is pretty good as well, because most exchanges have already had a security breach. And then I would look just at things like, well, first, is it available in your country? Does it have an insurance policy? And if yes, what does that insurance policy cover? How do they store their crypto? Do they store it in cold wallets or in hot wallets or that kind of things? Then there's a big difference between centralized exchanges and DeFi exchanges, which you should know. And then you got to ask yourself the question: what do you feel more comfortable with, a centralized player or a decentralized player? So there's a lot of different things to look at. So it's not like the number one player, but I mean the biggest exchanges are like Kraken, Binance, Bitfinex, Coinbase, of course. That's probably the most regulated player as well, Coinbase. So it's always good for starters, I think. But with Coinbase, you also have to know that Coinbase it's acting more like a broker than like an exchange. So the fees are significantly higher than with other exchanges, also because all the regulatory things. But yeah, I think Coinbase is very good for starters who really want to get into the space for the first time, because I think you can't really do a lot of things wrong with Coinbase other than the high fees. And other than that, yeah, Kraken I think is good. Binance is obviously something that many people recommend. What I don't really like about Binance is that they are not really headquartered anywhere. They don't really want to tell you where the headquarters is. And that's a bit weird to me. But it's one of the biggest exchanges, and you can't really make anything wrong with that one either. One thing that I would always recommend people is to never store their cryptos on the exchange. So always sort of get it off there and put it in a hardware wallet or something like that. Then you can make sure that your things are secured.
Explain what is a cold wallet versus hot wallet. What does that mean?
So hot wallet is connected to the internet all the time, right? So that makes it easier for you if you're a trader or something like that, because you can immediately access it. But in a cold wallet is a hardware wallet. It looks like a USB stick. So you can put your crypto assets on there, and then you can take it out of your computers. It's not connected to the internet anymore. It's kind of like a safe at home, right? Just that it's digital, and that makes it more secure because you can't hack a hardware wallet if it's not connected to the internet. So it's a lot more secure to have your coins on a
So do you keep your assets in a cold wallet?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was some specific ones, and it should be worth noting that Lukas is not a certified financial analyst, in that if any advice here is advice from a person, not anything, whatever lawyers that ever want to come after saying he gave this advice. No, that's not what this is about. But I'm just curious what you feel about specific ones. So is Bitcoin a buy? Just all I want is if you think in the next 6 months these are currencies that will go up or down. Okay, start with Bitcoin.
It's always hard to say that, right? Very hard to say. I mean, Bitcoin's been going up since the end of last year, so I could see it going up more. I mean, there's some things interesting. You can look that up. It's called stock to flow model, which is actually from commodities analysis. And if you look at that, like certain analysts apply that to Bitcoin because it behaves a bit similar to gold in a sense. So they apply that model, and it's been quite accurate over the last years. And if you look at these stock to flow model predictions, Bitcoin would be somewhere around higher than 100,000 next year. I could see it going up. I mean, there's a lot of narrative around Bitcoin at the moment that is kind of firing up the courses and the prices, and there's a lot of liquidity flowing into Bitcoin, and at the same time there's a supply squeeze on all these exchanges. So I could see it going up more, but it's very narrative driven, so it's very difficult to say.
Okay, XRP.
XRP has gone up a lot recently. I think it was pretty much the best performing currency in the last couple of months. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit difficult for me to sort of give you predictions on these prices. But
I mean,
the
I
thing-
don't even know what differentiates XRP from Bitcoin versus. So my point.
Yeah, but the thing how this usually works is that in crypto markets is that if Bitcoin has a run, then all the altcoins, so XRP is an altcoin, every other currency other than Bitcoin is called altcoin. If Bitcoin has a run, then all the altcoins, they are not performing as well as Bitcoin because all the liquidity goes into Bitcoin. So it means all the people are selling off their altcoins and put that money into Bitcoin. So there's something that you could, for example, observe also over the last couple of months, that Bitcoin is surging and the altcoins are not going up to the same degree as Bitcoin. So what I would say is that if Bitcoin keeps going up, then that altcoins probably are going to not perform as well as Bitcoin, not even close. But then at one point, there is a turning point when there's buying fatigue setting in Bitcoin, and people start taking profits and they sell Bitcoin, and then they reallocate that money into altcoins.
Right.
So this is sort of how the trend works. So what I would say is, if Bitcoin keeps going up, then currencies like XRP are probably not going up as much. Maybe even going down, but at one point there's going to be a turning point, and then something that we call it altcoin season starts, and then Bitcoin is going to either start going down or it's slowing down, and then all these altcoins are starting to pick up.
Right.
So that probably answers your question about XRP.
So the alternative coins are a hedge. When if you buy Bitcoin, you should also buy the alternative coins. In the sense, if somebody were coming into this from scratch, they should buy a bit of both Bitcoin and the alternative coins, because if one's going up, the other's probably going down. If the other's going down, then the other one's so it's a right.
If you think Bitcoin's going up over the next couple of months, it's good to sort of hold Bitcoin, like whatever, put 2/3 of your portfolio into Bitcoin and 1/3, but still keep 1/3 in altcoins, because once that change happens from Bitcoin to altcoin season, that usually happens very quickly, and it's very difficult to time it. So it's better to already have some exposure. So you're in the altcoins as well once the tide starts turning.
Okay,